a day, just make sure you're taking note of the chapters. I know they go pretty quick, and especially since those chapters relate to your final. So for your final for next week, it'll be chapters this week and next week. So just pay attention to the chapters that we're in. So today we're shifting gears from chapter 11 to chapter 4. I know it feels like we're jumping around. And we want to introduce this a new concept, So if we do a quick recap, we've talked about figuring out what your career plan looks like. I've been looking at your career plans, your career goals rather. And this week we're contemplating, okay, what are the steps am I going to take to get there? I've even asked you to reach out to someone to have a conversation about your goals. That makes it real, right? That's part of accountability. That's part of moving forward. The first step is to create a goal, not a dream, not an aspiration, but an actual goal. The next step is to put that goal into place. The third step is to actually start affirming it by letting people know, this is my goal. This is what I'm trying to do. You're really, marrying yourself to the idea that this is what you're going to achieve. What you have to also do is begin to promote yourself. If you go back to week 1, I said that you are a business entity. You are providing a service. The company that you go work for, it's not your company, right? I don't care how much they tell you, oh, this is our company. They give you a t-shirt in an office and a laptop or whatever. That's not your company. You are providing a service to that entity. So you have to look at yourself like your own business. You have to promote yourself to these businesses because you're selling your service just like any other product. You have to think of it that way so that you can strategize on how you're going to promote yourself online, in person, when you're meeting people, with your elevator pitch. There needs to be a consistent message. So what we want to do is just talk a little bit about how having an online presence is going to help you with that message. We already use online, some type of platform. I'm sure most of you are on some type of platform, but we're going to talk to you about, using it, in a positive way. Not that we don't, but we all know that there's all types of people on the internet, and how to help it build your network, which we'll discuss in chapter 5, is building that network, building these opportunities. As a job seeker, you want to have an online presence. Yes, there is a privacy concern. There's a privacy concern just doing anything, right? There's always going to be bad actors, nefarious characters that are looking for opportunities to exploit people, even online. And so, yes, we have to be diligent. We have to be prudent about where we go online and how we use these services. You have to know that once you are online, you have to think of online like a big shopping mall, right? When someone opens the door to the mall and you walk in it, you're inside the mall. Once you get online, you're on the network. That means you're on somebody's network. Now, maybe you may not pay attention to that fact, but you are, whether you're using Google or you're going to some type of website like Twitter or Instagram, you're in their house. Why is that important? That means that everything you do while you're in their home, in that mall, can be tracked. I thought I was being private. No, you're not. No, there's no such thing as privacy when you walk in the mall. There's no such thing as privacy once you log on to the internet. Somebody is tracking you. Now, of course, it's not for, nefarious reasons. It's not because, allegedly they want to keep track of you, even though we have laws right now, who's been paying attention to politics, where they're trying to do just that with this thing called FISA. But businesses track, right? They track you when you go to McDonald's. They track you when you go to, to shopping at wherever. They get basic information about you. What has become more valuable than gold is people's information. Why is that? Well, it's always been valuable, and people have always spent millions and millions of dollars just to know basic things like what type of shoes do you like and what brand of oatmeal are you willing to eat, because they just want to sell you stuff. So if you think about all this data collection, is all designed to figure out how they can persuade you to give them some money for their product. That is what it's all about. You'd be surprised, the lengths that businesses will go just to figure out what you're thinking and what you want, even to the point of invading your privacy. And Google and Instagram and Twitter and everywhere you go, they are in the business of selling data. They get more money out of that than you actually buying the product. So absolutely understand that everywhere you go online, they get money to let other marketing companies know what you're doing and what you like. And again, 90% of it is just to sell you something, but there are some other, I would say 5% is the government, and the government is probably going to increase that 5%, or they're trying to. And the other 5% is bad actors, it's nefarious characters trying to take your information. So when you are walking around on the internet, you have what's called a digital footprint. That means everywhere you go, it can be tracked if somebody cared enough to do it. Now, there's billions of people in the world, so nobody's just going to track you for nothing, right? It's very costly to track people, so don't think that you have a target on your back, but just be aware of that. Why is that important? That's important because as a business entity, it's important for you to have an image. It's important for you to have a persona, if you will, and you don't want anybody destroying your image. You don't want to destroy your own image. Let's start there, right? So we tell people, as you're thinking about, okay, how am I presenting myself online? Who thinks it's important to have a positive presentation if you're trying to have a professional career, to have a positive image, right? And that's not to say we're perfect people. Who's perfect? Perfect and people, that doesn't even go together, right? We're people. But that doesn't mean we want all of our business in the streets, right? So we don't need to know everything about you. It's important for you to protect your professional image. Start out with all the way from the very beginning, your email accounts, your Google accounts, your Yahoo accounts. Start thinking about how I can begin to promote myself. Can I be more prudent about how I'm using the online, even if you're, have, like I said, a personal account. I even tell people, think about creating, if you have an Instagram account or even a Facebook account or whatever you're using, maybe create a professional one too. Like, the reason why I love LinkedIn, because that's 100% professional. It's very different from like an Instagram account where it can be personal or professional, right? You have professional people or even businesses with Instagram accounts, right? But LinkedIn is definitely your place to go. It is the job marketplace. However, you can still promote yourself on other platforms. Companies are on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these other places. And you can promote yourself there by having your own, account that is just professional. If I were in the VA program, for example, I would create, and let's say my goal was to work with, marine biology and to deal with mammals. I'm down here in Florida. Maybe I want to go work in, Florida Keys, Key West somewhere. and that be my specialization. Like it would only make sense for me to have an Instagram account that talked about that. If I were in the electrical program and maybe, my long-term part of my long-term career goal was to really uh, investigate, be a part of this new trend of how the, technology is affecting the electrical industry. Like we know that, right? Everything from the Internet of Things, if you've ever heard of that, IoT. IoT is basically how you're using technology to coincide with electricity, being able to turn your lights off at your house while using your cell phone, for example, right? That's part of the Internet of Things. Automated automobiles, that's part of electricity and technology, right? Especially EVs, right? So maybe you want to specialize in that and see, where that's going, and that's part of your long-term career goals. I would definitely have an Instagram account where that was my focus, and maybe if I had another focus, like I love dog breeding, but maybe I'll have that on my other Instagram page, right? Why is that? Because companies will Google you, my friends. Companies, when they are looking for new employees, some people call them team members, whatever you want to call yourself, um they will Google. Like I had a CEO, and I thought it was a bit intrusive, but she did it. She even would put you can do Google alerts, right? Anytime someone like posts anything about your company or about you could do like a Google alert and you can get these alerts. And she would do that for our company. If anybody ever said anything about the company or research the company or whatever, she would do these Google alerts. Or if she was interested in someone, like she would do all this research. I thought it was a bit much, but okay, girl, do you. Um, People do that. There's HR people that do that. Some people are really concerned about who they're bringing on. So don't assume that just because you don't like being online, that the company that you work for doesn't, right? Or that they don't appreciate, knowing something about you and your professional career. People even judge you. I know it seems very snobby, but sometimes people judge you. They're like, oh my God, you have a career and you're not online, you're not promoting yourself, you're not networking yourself. I don't know why I took on that Valley Girl accent, but whatever. People do judge you on that, so just be mindful of that. Sometimes they feel like you're hiding something. Can you believe it? People feel as if you're hiding something if you don't have a platform, because they can't fathom, like, if you are a serious professional, why would you not be promoting yourself? Secondly, you have to network, because listen, you're going to learn, my friends. I don't know what to say. How many people believe that networking plays a good chunk, take a good role in career progression? In other words, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Now, I know how we feel about that. Some people feel a certain way about that, and I get it. But I want to challenge you to look at it a different way. Think of it this way. We're all here. Some of us, we know each other. Some of us, we don't. Clearly, some of y'all don't know each other. You're in different programs. You're all over Florida. But if at minimum you've kind of checked out the people's names here, like I'm sure you've checked out the names here, like who are these people? You probably scrolled through to see who's online. All right. A year from now, 2 years from now, you're on LinkedIn. We're all on LinkedIn. Somebody from this classroom reaches out to you, right? Let's say you connected with the person. Miss Taylor told us to do LinkedIn and connect with each other. We do that, right? Maybe you post something, they like it. They don't really know you, but they knew you from class. They knew you from Southern Tech. They knew you from ATA. They reach out to you because your company has just promoted this new opportunity, and they are linked with you on LinkedIn, and they reach out to you and they say, hey, I see your company is looking for a new technician. How many of you would say, yeah, give me your resume, I'll pass it on to you? I'll pass it on to my boss. Let me give him a thumbs up if you would do that. That's called networking. Do you just one thumbs up? The rest of y'all said no. Oh. Okay, I was about to say, oh, you guys are. Sometimes it's the people you know. Okay, but anyway, um, that's networking. You've never gone out with these people in this classroom. You don't even know their middle names. The great thing about professional networks is just being connected. It's not you have to go to the golf course. It's not that you have to be friends with people. Networking is all about familiarity. We are humans. People like to know people, right? I need to at least know. I know you're not hopefully you're not a nefarious character. We went to school together. I know you casually. I know you a little bit, right? But that's all it takes. It doesn't take you having some deep friendship with someone to network on the business side of things. That's the cool part. I have people that network with me from 20 years ago. I was in Africa teaching. I have my people from Africa that were in my classroom still networking with me, telling, oh, Miss Taylor, I started my own business. Oh, Miss Taylor, I did that. Great, great. Like, it's amazing. I have people asking me for references. I asked people for references. 10 years ago, I worked with them, but it's because we just stayed connected. That's networking, my friends. And so, why is it not a bad thing? Most companies, if they can fill positions based off of their network, why would they not do that? It's cheaper. I already know the person. There's nothing bad about that. Put yourself in their shoes. If you had a business and you had a coworker or somebody that worked for you and you knew you had to fill that position, and Tom's like, hey, I know someone, you could be like, yeah, give me their resume. That's networking. That's it. So it's important for you to network. It's important for you to network, not because it's like, oh, I need to promote myself. It's because you need to know people. Because if you don't know people, you're going to be the last person to find out about something. And that's just real life, right? You don't want to be the person that finds out about everything last because you've not networked with anyone. Has that ever happened to someone? My hand is up. Oh, I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way not to know people. I remember when I was in Korea, I was in the army and I was in South Korea, and I'm gonna just be honest. I was let's say I was a Southern girl, a church girl. I stayed to myself. I didn't go to the clubs. I didn't know anything about anything. Y'all hear me? I was green as they came. And um I had someone that befriended me. We were all in the military, but I didn't know anything about this person, right? I thought this person liked me. Y'all can already know where this is going. It turns out this person was the worst person ever, like just in terms of being how should I call him? Uh 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 a person that everybody was friends with. Let's just put it that way. Oh my goodness, those people laughed at me so bad. All my neighbors, that was the first card game I went to because they felt so sorry for me. Everybody knew I was a little green person. And they was like, baby, you got to get out. You can't be out in these streets not knowing what's going on. The shame I felt just because I didn't know people, I didn't talk to people. I learned that day because if anybody's ever seen Grease, y'all remember Grease? Who knows the movie Grease? I was Sandra Dee. I was the real life Sandra Dee. Listen, I had to put my leather jacket on to get in the streets because I didn't know anything and it hurt me because I just didn't talk to people. So I'm not telling you to put your leather jacket on, but I'm just saying you got to network. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Now, I have mixed views about X. I have mixed views about X. If anybody remembers Twitter, and I'm talking about 5 years ago, Twitter. Anybody remember Twitter? Twitter used to be the place to go. Twitter used to be the place to go if you wanted, like let's say you couldn't catch the news, you wanted to learn about what was happening. Twitter was very professional. Anybody agree with that? That used to use Twitter back in the day? You couldn't pay me to go on X right now. I'm just being honest with you. You couldn't pay me to do it. Like, I do not like propaganda. I like facts. I'm a researcher. I like facts. I don't even like watching news where people have too much personality, which sounds crazy. I don't like all the personality. Just give me the facts. I'll figure out how to feel about it. That's why I watch PBS and I watch some real boring news channels, that's way, way down in the numbers, right? I can't watch any of that other stuff. The performance, I don't like performative anything. um but Twitter used to be that place for me. I don't know what happened. Now, you listen, if you got on X, I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you, my friends, be careful. My friends, be careful. A lot of times, what you I always what you show is what you attract, right? So, if I think X unfortunately has attracted people that likes the shock and awe of things. And if you just like straight facts, you have to dig for that, and so I'm on the fence about networking on X. Maybe if it gets a little bit more professional again, maybe that's just my personal opinion. I just feel like, now that is more social than it is professional. Yeah, if you want to promote yourself on there, go ahead. It is a platform, but just do your due diligence, people. Like, you just don't want to fall into something and end up being associated with something that you didn't mean to be associated with. And remember, you're a business, so you have to think about your reputation, right? This is not personal. You can have all your personal views. Yeah, I'm Generation X, so my views on privacy are very different. I'm old school in a lot of ways. I believe in keeping your business to yourself. One thing I hate is when someone's asking me about political affiliation, religion, money, any of that. Like, back in my day, you don't talk about that kind of stuff. Nowadays, everybody talks about it. And I'm like, what? I clutch my pearls. Like, that is your personal business. So, but if you choose to put it out there, that's on you. But just be mindful that you are in a professional industry now, and you have to think about that, and how that could affect your business image, right? So think about that. Instagram, I think, is still good. What I like about Instagram, this is a good mixture of professional and personal. If you have a personal account, I would suggest you doing a business account as well. That's not to say that if a company wants to do research on you, they can find information on your personal and public and business, because once you put something out there, somebody knows how to, do a search. They can find stuff about you, especially once you post it. Somebody reposts it, it takes 2 seconds, for your information to be found with any decent IT person. So just be mindful what you put. Like, if you know that you are Twitter fingers and you love that political commentary, or you just love to talk about stuff, or you love to, trash talk, you're gonna have to clean that up. Ain't no way around it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You gotta clean it up. How many of us have seen somebody lose their job about some crap on the internet? You remember, have you? I know y'all seen it. If you've been on the internet, you've seen this stuff, right? People doing stuff. I couldn't believe there's this one guy a couple months ago actually was going off on this person in uniform, in his little company shirt. I guess he was at a conference. He had on his company shirt. Like, how smart can you be? And you're being recorded, and you're still going in on the person. Now you're unemployed. Companies do not like to be embarrassed. They like to make money. I know I know it's hard to believe. They like to make money. They do not like to be embarrassed. Can you imagine? So you have to think about, oh, okay, now I have to clean my image up. Miss Taylor, you telling me I got to clean up my image? Yeah. Why do you think you don't see a lot of professional people, doctors and lawyers, professors and stuff? We're not online talking all that stuff. We try to listen. I have a profession to protect. You never see those type of people. Very rarely. You might see catch one or two, but I'm not a politician. I'm not an entertainer. I don't have anything not to lose. I'm not some young kid with nothing to lose. Like, most professional people like to protect their image for obvious reasons, right? Obvious reasons. So you have to think about that. Um, so at the end of the day, we're not telling you to be scared of online. We're not telling you not to use it. We just want you to have a think long term. This is your career. You have to promote yourself. We want you to start to think about what that looks like. So, with that in mind, I want to talk about really quickly because I know some people may have questions about this assignment. Um, in your assignment for today, what it's asking you to do, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about building an online presence. Now, and in that assignment, it's going to ask you to see if you can find information about yourself online. What does that mean, Miss Taylor? That means, yeah, literally, I want you to go google.com. And I just want you to type in something about yourself. It could just be your first and last name and the city you were born in. And I want you to tell me what pops up. If nothing pops up, so I'm actually, let me do it real quick for you guys, because I know some people are like, Miss Taylor, can you just show me what that looks like? All right. So let me do this quick little thing for you guys. So if I were to, and let me see, am I even? So if I were to go to like, not what I wanted to do, don't optimize. Um, I love Google, but we're on Microsoft. But let's just say I did in the search bar, Cynthia Taylor, and then I put Florida, right? I want you to do two things. Now, part of research, you put in and Florida. It's a little, because you're telling the search engine to find anything that says Cynthia Taylor and Florida, and then enter. Now, what you're going to write about is what you find. It does not matter whether you find yourself or not. So I just put in Cynthia Taylor. I'm going to take notes on what I found with this particular search. So I'm going to say I did my first search by putting in my first and last name and my state. I don't care what you put in. Don't be afraid that by putting your name in that you're sharing anything. You're not sharing anything. You're actually trying to see, can I pull up anything about myself? So I'm going to say I put in Cynthia Taylor and Florida doing a Microsoft search. What I found was I found some white pages, and it talked about different addresses of people with my name. It even said that there was 41 people in Orlando with that name. I saw some images. So this is what I'm typing. I saw some images of Cynthia Taylor's. None of them were me, especially not the obituaries, thank God, right? So I went down. There was a Spokios. You don't have to click on this stuff, right? You're just going to say, I scrolled down. I saw some other directories, but none of them were me. All right. So you're just going to talk a little bit about what you found, and none of them were you. So then you're going to go back, and I want you to switch it up and put one other thing in there about yourself. So you can switch Florida, and I may put UCF because I know I graduated from UCF, right? So did I find anything about myself? So you're going to write, I then switched my search from Florida to Cynthia Taylor and UCF. The first thing that came up was the College of Community Innovation and Education with faculty directors, but I know I don't teach at UCF, so they weren't me. I scrolled down and it says to rate my professor, Cynthia Baylor at University of Central Florida. That wasn't me. So I scrolled down a little bit more There was a Facebook profile with Cynthia Taylor. That could be me. I haven't used Facebook in 15 years, but I could have something there. So maybe that was me. So let's say I clicked on that and that was me. Um, and the other two professors were not me, right? Just enough to give you 250 words is like 2 paragraphs, right? 2 searches. Talk about the first search in the first paragraph, talk about the second search. You're just trying to see if there's anything out there about yourself. You got it?
Just just quickly, Miss Taylor. You said the first one would be geared toward,
No,
well,
you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying do it twice, right? So put in something, put in 2 different pieces of information about yourself. I just happened to
okay,
put in Cynthia Taylor in Florida. You can put in
okay,
Derek Smith and Marion High School because you went to Marion High School. You want to
okay,
really see if there's anything out there about yourself. There's so many people that were aghast at the fact that there was stuff out there about them and they didn't even know. I know I was aghast one time. My ex veteran co-workers was posting all the military stuff about me on Facebook, not about me specifically, but just about our unit. And I was like, girl, you gotta get my permission because we was looking crazy. I didn't even know it was out there. So you'd be surprised, nothing bad, but it's good to see if you're even out there and what's out there about you, right? So I just want you to do something, do 2 different searches, do like your first and last name and something personal about you, whether it's the school you went to, the city or state you grew up in. Maybe it can be anything to see if there's anything out there. Go ahead, Crystal.
okay.
We can't hear you. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So you can speak whenever you need to, Crystal. I see your hand raised, but all right. So let's go back to getting our conference question. All right. So our conference question for today, I think that's where we are, is I want you to know we're starting to think. Now, Miss Taylor's asking us to do a lot of thinking. We're thinking about our career. We're thinking about what companies we want to work for. Now she wants me to think about how to grow my network. Okay. Well, she kind of talked about school. That's one great place to grow your network. You know, the number of people that start their businesses in school. Maybe it's your church, maybe it's your neighborhood, maybe it's your family. I don't care. It can be a combination. Just give me 3 people or places that you may use to grow your network. You may say, I'm going to start my network right here at Southern Tech. And I'm going to start it by connecting with this person, that person, and this person. I'm fine with that. Or you may say, I'm going to grow my network at school. I'm connect with my colleague, my peers, and I'm also going to grow my network, at my with my own family because my uncle has his own business, and maybe at church because I know Sally owns a veterinary clinic, right? So whatever you want to do, right? 3 people or places where you're going to grow your network. And which ones are you using now to grow your to network? Which ones are you using now? Maybe you're already networking. If you're not, that's fine too. Any questions? All right, my friends. I know some of you guys get to your interview. That's it. Thank you for joining us, and I will see you back here tomorrow.
Have a great day.
You
Miss
too,
Taylor,
man.
can you hear me now?
Thank
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you now.
Oh, for that search that we were doing, is that like an assignment that we are turning in, or is it that just something we were doing?
No, no, no. That's your assignment for today, the one that needs to be turned in by Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you because some people get confused on it. So some assignments I like to show you what to do so you'll know exactly what to do.
Okay. Sorry, I was having computer issues this morning.
No, no, no. It's fine. It's fine. It wasn't
Okay,
my
I appreciate
normal, it wasn't my normal stitch. So I get it. I get it. I get it. Like, what's she doing a demonstration of? What is this? No, I get it. All right.
Perfect.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you. You as well.
Mhm.